Hi guys, happy wacky Wednesday. Look, I made my hair into a bow. It's kind of fun. We're going to continue doing Miracle Worker. I got some feedback from you guys and from Miss Beliska that you want me to, or that you really want your teachers to like split up longer assignments. So what we're going to do, we're still going to do the same assignments. I'm just going to post them on different days. So I'm going to post this today. This will be due on Friday. It's going to be the first half of Act 2.2. All right, so it's only about 10 pages. You should be able to breeze right through it, but it should help you keep on track for all the things that you need to do for reading, okay? So we are on page 62 in the Miracle Worker. We are about halfway down the page. It's, well, a little more than halfway down the page, and it starts with In the Darkness, okay? So once you find that, here we go, page 62. In the darkness, down left, a hand strikes a match and lights a hanging oil lamp. It's Keller's hand, and his voice accompanies it, very angry. The lights rising here before they fade on Annie, show Keller and Kate inside a suggestion of a garden house with a bay window seat towards center and a door at back. Kate, I will not have it. Now do you not see when the girl after supper went to look after Helen in her room? No. The child practically climbed out of her window to escape from her. What kind of teacher is she? I thought I had seen her at the worst this morning shouting at me, but I came home to find the entire house disorganized by her. Helen won't stay 1 second in the same room, won't come to the table with her, won't let herself be bathed or undressed or put to bed by her, or even by Viney now. And the end result is that you have to do more for the child than before we hired this girl's service. From the moment she stepped off the train, she's been nothing but a burden, incompetent, impertinent, ineffectual, immodest. She folded her napkin, Captain. What? Not ineffectual. Helen did fold her napkin. What in heaven's name is so extraordinary about folding a napkin? Well, it's more than you did, Captain. Katie, I did not bring you all the way out here to the garden house to be frivolous. Now, how does Miss Sullivan propose to teach a deaf, blind pupil who won't even let her touch her? I don't know. The fact is, today she scuttled any chance she ever had of getting along with the child. If you can see any point or purpose to her staying on here longer, it's more than, what do you wish me to do? I want you to give her notice. So give her notice means to fire her, to give her the notice that you are going to be fired. I want you to give her notice. I can't. Then if you won't, I must. I simply will not. He is interrupted by a knock at the back door. So, Keller, after a glance at Kate, moves to open the door. Annie in her smoked glasses is standing outside. Keller contemplates her heavily. Miss Sullivan. Captain Keller. She's nervous, keyed up to seizing the bull by the horns again, and she assumes a cheeriness which is not unshaky. Viney said I'd find you both out here in the garden house. I thought we should have a talk. Yes, well, come in. Annie enters, and she's interested in the room. She rounds on her heel, anxiously, studying it. Keller turns the matter over to Katie, sotto voce. Katie? Captain? I, wanted first to make my position clear to Mrs. Keller in private. I have decided I am not satisfied. In fact, I am deeply dissatisfied with the manner in which, excuse me, is this little house ever in use? In the hunting season. If you'll give me your attention, Miss Sullivan. And he turns her smoke glasses upon him. They hold his unwilling stare. I've tried to make allowances for you because you come from a part of the country where people are, women, I should say, come from for whom, it begins to elude him. Allowances must be made. I have decided, nevertheless, vexedly. Miss Sullivan, I find it a difficult task to talk through those glasses. Of course. Why do you wear them? The sun's been down for hours. Any kind of light hurts my eyes. A silence. Kellen ponders her heavily. Put them on. Miss Sullivan, I have decided to give you another chance. To do what? To remain in our employ. Annie's eyes widen. But in two conditions. I am not accustomed to rudeness in servants or women, and that is the first. If you are to stay there, there must be a radical change of manner. Whose? Yours, young lady, isn't it obvious? And the second is that you persuade me there's a slight hope of your teaching a child who flees from you now like the plague, to anyone who else she can find in the house. There isn't. Kate stops sewing and fixes her eyes on Annie. What, Miss Annie? It's hopeless here. I can't teach a child who runs away. Then, do I understand you propose? Well, if we all agree it's hopeless, the next question is what, Miss Annie? She's leaning toward Annie in earnest, deadly earnest. It commands both Annie and Keller. I am not agreed. I think perhaps you underestimate Helen. I think everybody else here does. She did fold her napkin. She learns. Do you know she began talking when she was 6 months old? She could say water. Not really. Wah-wah. Wah-wah, but she meant water. She knew what it meant, and only 6 months old. I never saw a child so bright or outgoing. Her voice is unsteady, but she gets it level. It's still in her somewhere, isn't it? You should have seen her before her illness, such a good-tempered child. She's changed. A pause. Katie not letting her eyes go. Her appeal at last is unconditional and very quiet. Miss Annie put up with it. And with us. Us. Please. Like the lost lamb in the parable, I love her all the more. Mrs. Keller, I don't think Helen's worst handicap is deafness or blindness. I think it's your love. And pity. Now what does that mean? All of you here are so sorry for her that you've kept her like a pet. Why even a dog you housebreak? No wonder she won't let me come near her. It's useless for me to try and teach her language or anything else here. I might as well. Miss Annie, before you came, we spoke of putting her in an asylum. Annie turns back to regard her. A pause. What kind of asylum? For mental defectives. I visited there. I can't tell you what I saw. People like animals with rats in the halls, and she shakes her head in her vision. What else are we to do if you give up? Give up? You said it was hopeless. Here. Give up? Why, I only today saw what has to be done, to begin. She glances from Kate to Keller, who stare, waiting. She makes it as plain and simple as her nervousness permits. I want complete charge of her. You already have that. It has resulted in, day and night. She has to be dependent on me. For what? For everything. The food she eats, the clothes she wears, fresh. She amuses herself at the very thought, though very serious, air. Yes, the air she breathes. Whatever her body needs is a primer to teach her out of. It's the only way. The one who lets her. It's the only way. The one who lets her have it should be her teacher. She considers them in turn. They digest it. Keller frowning. Kate perplexed. Not anyone who loves her. You have so many feelings they fall over each other like feet. You won't use your chances, and you won't use your chances, and you won't let me. But if she runs from you, to us, yes, that's the point. I'll have to live with her somewhere else. What? Till she learns to depend on me and listen to me. For how long? As long as it takes. A pause. She takes breath. I packed half my things already. Miss Sullivan. But when Annie tends upon him, he is speechless and she is merely earnest. Captain Keller, it meets both your conditions. It's the one way I can get back in touch with Helen, and I don't see how I can be rude to you again if you're not around to interfere with me. And what is your intention if I say no? Pack the other half for home and abandon your charge to the asylum? She waits, appraises Keller's glare and Kate's uncertainty, and decides to use her weapon. I grew up in such an asylum. The state almshouse. Kate's head comes up on this, and Keller stares hard. Annie's tone is careful enough, albeit levels, gunfire. Rats. Well, my brother Jimmy and I used to play with the rats because we didn't have toys. Maybe you'd like to know what Helen will find there. Not on visiting days. One ward was full of the old women, crippled, blind, most of them dying. But even if what they had was catching, there was nowhere else to move them, and that's where they put us. There were younger ones across the hall, prostitutes mostly, with TB and epileptic fits, and a couple of the kind who keep after other girls, especially younger ones, and some insane. Some just had the DTs. The youngest were in another ward to have babies they didn't want. They started at 13, 14. They'd leave afterwards, but the baby stayed, and we played with them too, though a lot of them had sores all over from diseases you're not supposed to talk about. But not many of them lived. The first year we had 80, 70 died. The room Jimmy and I played in was the dead house, where they kept all the bodies they could dig. Oh dear, the graves. She's immune to Kate's compassion. No, it made me strong. But I don't think you need send Helen there. She's strong enough. She waits again, but when neither offers her a word, she simply concludes, "No, I have no conditions, Captain Keller." Miss Annie. Yes. Where would you take Helen? Oh, Italy? What? Can't have everything. How about this garden house? Furnish it, bring Helen here after a long ride so she won't recognize it, and you can see her every day, if she doesn't know. Well? Is that all? That's all. Captain. Keller turns his head and Kate's request is quiet but firm. With your permission? Why must she depend on you for the food she eats? I want control of it. Why? It's a way to reach her. You intend to starve her into letting you touch her? She won't starve, she'll learn. All's fair in love and war. Captain Keller, you never cut supplies? This is hardly a war. Well, it's not love. A siege is a siege. Miss Sullivan, do you like the child? Do you? A long pause. You can have a servant here. I'll have enough work without looking after a servant. But that boy Percy could sleep here, run errands. We can let Percy sleep here, I think, Captain. And some furniture, all our own. Captain, do you think that walnut bedstand in the barn would be too... I have not consented to Percy, or to the house, or to the proposal, or to Miss Sullivan's staying on when I... But he erupts in an irate surrender. Very well. I consent to everything. He shakes the cigar at Annie. For 2 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks in this place, and it will be a miracle if you get the child to tolerate you. 2 weeks? Miss Annie, can you accomplish anything in 2 weeks? Anything or not, 2 weeks, then the child comes back to us. Make up your mind, Miss Sullivan, yes or no. 2 weeks. For only one miracle. She nods at him nervously. I'll get her to tolerate me. Keller marches out and slams the door. Kate, on her feet, regards Annie, who is facing the door. You can think as little of love as you said. You can't think as little of love as you said. Annie glances questioning. Or you wouldn't stay. I didn't come here for love, I came for money. Kate shakes her head to this with a smile. After a moment, she extends her open hand. Annie looks at it, but when she puts hers out, it's not to shake, it's to set her fist in Kate's palm. A. It's the first of many. 26. Kate squeezes her fist, squeezes it hard, and hastens out after Keller. Annie stands as the door closes behind her. Her manner so apprehensive that finally she slaps her brow, holds it, sighs, and with her eyes closed, crosses herself for luck. All right, we're going to stop there for now. Answer these questions. These are going to be due on Friday, so make sure that they are all done by Friday. Okay? I will see you on Friday. Bye.